All right. So today we're going to be discussing the format and I guess the flow of the masterclass, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, and you're going to give me the co-host. You already created that for me? The
Yeah,
co-host?
I yeah, see yeah,
Eh,
see if you're able to share.
Yeah, so no, that'll be great.
Oh, my neck.
Did you get it? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so tell me a little more about what is your vision, Han.
Oh, um well, like I said, 5 years ago I had a vision of changing the flow of capital to women.
Mhm.
I'll never
And
I'll never forget the moment that happened. I walked out of my house
uh-huh.
and I started having all of these very weird thoughts come to my brain that I never felt before in my life.
Mhm.
And I went through 3 months of just downloaded information into my brain, all this
Right.
stuff coming into my brain. And
Mhm.
I didn't know how to, what it was. It was confusing. I was
Mhm.
like, what? All these things that were being downloaded to me.
Mhm. You
And
were
I
working
said,
with the universe. Yep.
yeah, and I started getting all of these things happening and recognizing and realizing. And then I started getting into the venture capital and private equity space, the money world. This is the
Mhm.
money world
Mhm. Mhm.
on the private side of things. I'll be on the public side of things too, and I'll be grateful for that because I don't know nothing about the public side of things.
Mhm.
But I recognized that this is needed for the world.
Mhm. Yes.
This is needed for the world, and that's why I told you today when I recorded that little message to you is that when you invest in a woman, it becomes infinite. It's an
Mhm.
infinite loop
Mhm. Mhm.
because that investment will touch her community, touch
Mhm.
her employees, touch her family. She
That's
will
right.
grow. It's something that, like, it's not a just a ripple effect. It is a tsunami effect.
It's the
It's
future.
a
Yeah.
tsunami, it's a tsunami effect.
Mhm. Yes.
And this is what I see. I mean, I can't even explain to you over the last 5 years and that 3 months of everything just being downloaded to me.
Mhm.
I never forget. I'll never forget. I mean, I couldn't even sleep and all this stuff. It was so crazy. And then I explained a bit of my vision to Diane. We were laying in bed. I woke her up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I started explaining things to her. And she took it all in. She was just listening, but I couldn't explain it in a very good way. I just could explain it as it was processing to me. And she says, and she paused and she goes, "Oh my God, Rose, you're a genius." And I started laughing because I said that's the first time she ever called me a genius. Because she's very smart. Diane is a computer engineer by trade. She's really smart. She's really smart, you know. But it took the two of us coming together to create what we created together. She's smart. She's very systematic, you know.
Mhm.
But I was a visionary, and she was able to take my vision and make those happen. And then, to your point, we had the power struggle, and we fell completely apart over the last 5 years, and ultimately got to the point of where we're at now.
Mhm.
And I'm okay because we're in a good space. I told her yesterday that I was going to, give her and Anissa the house. And we spoke about it and we cried. And she said that she was very sweet. And she said, this was always our dream house and we did it together. And I said, I know, I want you to have it.
Mm, that's so nice.
Yeah, and she always said that this will always, for her in her mind, she said it'll always be our home. So I want to give her that.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and so now I'm on my journey. We're on our journey. I'm
Mm-hmm.
literally on our journey back to when I first came to California. I came here with just a suitcase. I came here just with a suitcase and the hope and dream of something bigger.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I moved away from Michigan. I moved away from Michigan to make a way for myself. It was the scariest thing I ever did in my life.
Mm,
I was
mm,
26 years old. I never was on my own. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything about life.
mm,
I was
mm.
so scared. And I literally came to California with just a suitcase. And it was the scariest thing that I ever did. And I was grateful that I had Diane on my journey because I couldn't have done it without her, and I'm
Mhm.
really grateful to our journey together. And now I'm on a new journey.
Yep. And it's going to be fun, right? We'll make it fun.
We
Make
have
it
to.
fun.
So, yeah. So, what do we have to do here? What are you thinking? Tell me what's coming.
Okay. What's
So,
coming to me is I want to share something here with you.
Mhm.
So
You know
along,
what John told me about you?
yes, hon.
John told me that you're going to be a great teacher. You're a great.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
That's what he told me. Hmm.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. He says
Uh,
that. What did he say? He said, I'm going to read you exactly his text. And then we can get this. He said
okay.
to me, Rose, Rose, thank you for the opportunity to meet and chat with her. She's
Mhm.
she is very powerful. She's a very powerful person and a great teacher. That was
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. He's very powerful as well. I like his energy. All right, so I kind of want to share a little more about trying to understand why the Incas and the pre-Incas were so powerful,
oh, okay.
and why what I'm doing is literally just continuing with the teachers that I learned from them. And so I was like around 27, 28 when my intuition started getting stronger. And eventually I created the foundation for what I call is the Inca way. I created the foundation of uh, I'm the founder of the Inca way, and I was initiated as an ancient shaman to be able to receive the codes, to be able to understand what I was representing, which is the teachings of my people, right? And I was born in Peru. And then in my book, I share my style as storytelling. I tell people about things based in story because my people didn't have any writing, or they know how to write or read. So, but they communicate with frequencies, really strong frequencies. So, and when you go to different places in sites, so in the ancient sites, there's some codings that I start. This is the closest I was able to translate it. And these codings are like one of them, like the first one, which is the symbol of intention, has over 1,000 feelings, all combined, create movement and create a foundation for something. And the first one is the energy of intention, and so on. We're not going to go into each one of them, but each one of them, it's a compound of molecular behavior of feelings. And so we, and one of the first things that I learned is that we observe our transformation through thoughts and feelings. So when we have our thoughts connected to our feelings, then we can manifest the things that we want. And so,
Mm,
and then I start learning that there's two types of behavior that we have that are very common. And it's when we're in the mind and not connected to the heart. And it's the behavior of being a victim, because we can choose not to be a victim, or the choice of being a survivor, and we can choose not to be a survivor. These are just behaviors that were triggered and we take into it, right? So somebody who behaves as a victim feel powerless and manipulated by the event of the past. Everything is trigger based and unfulfilled events from the past. And the survivor still now has control over the situation. They found the solution, but they're still focused in the past. So either way, when it comes to the behavior behaving as a victim or as a survivor, there is no movement, enough movement to connect to the future. And so they're stuck in the past.
Mm.
And so the best way to describe the energy of the past is like if you see a square, just a square, two-dimensional square. That means that there's nothing, it's just flat. So when we when we are in our self-limiting beliefs or anything that creates pain or suffering, is because we're perceiving things, right? We're perceiving things from this perspective of limitations, which is depression, anxiety, feeling that you're not good enough, not having compassion for yourself. And eventually I'm going to make a list where we can see more of those. So that I will consider the point of reference as a victim, right? And also here in the third dimension, we still have both things, but we're still trapped inside of a container. It doesn't matter what shape it is. We still see and perceive, we perceive still things from the past, right? And so one of the things I start learning, it took me years, more than 20 years to learn these different concepts. And I was hiking in the Peruvian mountains while they were teaching me in a multi-dimensional, which means I was channeling information from beings. And so there's a point where they talk about the fourth dimension. And it says the fourth dimension is already creating a process of making making a choice, the power of making a choice with your heart. So you're already creating movement. And then there's a moment when I call the circle of time, is when we become creators of love. We choose from the perspective of love. And that's what's the fifth dimension. So when you choose, when you're a creator of love, you are allowing your feelings, your vision. That's the driving force that creates movement and creates the focus and opportunities in the future for things to happen. So in the fifth dimension, we don't focus on the past. In linear time, which is past, present, and future, we have the tendency to focus on the past, and with those behaviors of victim and survivors come from this space. But in circle time, it's all rotating movement, past and present, past and present. What can I do in the present that's going to create a future? Like you're explaining, you know, if we do funding for women, that's going to be amazing because they're going to be creating a better future. So in that trigger, you're not thinking about the past, you're thinking about what it can be possible in the present to avoid what happened in the past. You're thinking
Okay.
future. So there's action in that, there's movement in that. And because there's movement in the fifth dimension, we go into expansion, which means that we create possibilities, right? And that's what happens. I trust me, when this was happening, I didn't even know that I was learning to observe human behavior from the molecular level. So in this movement, there's a lot of possibilities, and there's action, and there's electromagnetic forces helping you to make things happen. So you become multidimensional. Now
Wow.
yeah. So the
That's
benefit,
powerful.
it is powerful.
Wow.
So the power information, which is channeling, is receiving information. Like you say, I had a dream, I was downloading. You know, these are languages that most people do not understand, but visionaries had that experience. I had a dream, I had a vision, I had a possibility presented to me. And that becoming from your environment, or becoming from your ancestors, but helping you to understand that the universe has a movement, expansion, and you're becoming part of the expansion, which is not going to happen from that perspective. There's no way you can go in expansion because you're too trapped into those things that are not going to work. So my work is help to understand people that we can change the energy and the molecular behavior. And so over here, these little guys over here, right? This is the DNA, but inside of the DNA, just a tiny little dot inside of it.
Yeah.
It's one of these guys. And this is an atom, right? And
Mhm.
the atom has the nucleus and the electrons that go through the orbit. And right here inside of the nucleus, you have the protons and the protons and the neutrons. But and inside of one proton, and they're so tiny, inside of this proton, you have three dots. And the ancient way is the symbol. So they are so tiny. So when I work with my clients, I'm changing the behavior from this perspective. is so tiny. So the idea is, how do you enter to the feelings of technology? How do you enter to that new reality where you connect with yourself and your inner self, your molecular level, and then the molecular level does the changes? Is when we create intention, a pure intention of the heart. That's what it makes the difference between a world with no feelings and a world with movement of feelings. You're always
So
going.
that's why you asked me at the beginning of this recording, like, what is your vision?
Mm-hmm. What's your vision? Yeah. So important, right? Because we have lots and lots of cells, and inside of the cells we have the DNA. And see those little dots over there? The Incas were already graphing the colors, the movements into their tapestries. So they were already like over here, they're trying to design here the movement,
Yeah.
which is so cool. And so, but there is one code I eventually learned that we all have that imaginary creative vulnerable part of us, and that is the female force. And then we have the inner force that we call the male force, which is the direction. Like you're talking about your partner, Diane, she has the structure to move on your dreams. So you guys were working. That's why things work between both of you, because you were using your female male energy. She was representing what was supporting your dream to move forward, right?
So what would she? So she was representing what, the female energy?
No, she was representing the male energy. In the ancient language, the male energy is the car that gets to the freeway. Let's say you want to go to LA. And
Yeah.
so the inner power, the drive, which can be the car going through the freeway, that's the male energy. Is what
Oh.
makes it happen. Mhm. Because
Oh.
dream
Okay.
itself, yeah, the dream itself is not going to happen unless inside of you, you master the female and male energy, which is the present and the future.
Yeah.
It's the giving and receiving, which is unconditional love. So all those elements are organic elements that we carry inside of ourselves, and we just reflect that in the world. So when we do the Inca Cross reading, which is one of the ways how I was able to decode this, is because I learned to balance the female male energy and do the creation from the perspective of the heart. And obviously, I was in several trainings in Peru. One of those was being hit by lightning. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, wow. And you lived to tell it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I live to tell.
now we meet. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The universe saved you for me.
No, you're so sweet. So these are the different elements that we get to develop in the molecular level, but it allows me to see your molecular behavior, because this is like the mastermind that reflects in you, and then it allows me to say how you're improving, what are you lacking. It's kind of like, what type of vitamin do you need? How are you going to take the vitamin? How long it's going to work, and how you're going to be depleted. All the information is there about you. So when you want to work with women, and let me drink some water really quick.
Yeah, I need to get more water too. One moment.
Mhm.
Let me put it on pause. Okay. Okay.
So, like for instance, it's in you and your team, right? Because I work in previous teams. Like if you want to work to this level, then if you're going to invest money in someone, you probably want to know, get to know the other person with what is going to drive them, what's going to help them to understand their power. Because when it comes to this point, only the information is given to me to build the person to be a better person, not to minimize or bully. If I ever want to go into that, my gifts will be taken away from me. So this is pretty serious. I only get to give information that's going to empower people. That's why I have to be very careful.
Yeah.
So, and in that way, but the power of this is where people is getting the information, the molecular behavior is already changing. It's like Gary going into movement where, see how there's this movement. So it's already changing the molecular of the elements of the people. See how Inca crosses, different Inca crosses are each one side of each one of these ones.
Yeah.
So it's already changing. The behavior changes. So so the idea is, how is this going to change, right? We're going to change the behavior. It's going to be through the energy of unconditional love, energy of integrity, helping them to be in the energy of the power of being who they really are. And energy as a full acceptance of themselves for the positive things. And little, little, we start letting the things go. And then the energy of creation. But this is a choice. This is an invitation, because this is not something that can be forced. So, but even then, people can receive the information, but they may choose to do something else. But this is up to you, or you get to decide who is going to be your team, because once these blocks and limiting beliefs get to create it, people get really powerful. And I have seen manifestations that are incredible. But my job is to bring this contribution to help you to generate a contribution who you want to be in the world, right? So this is again, this is a creation of life, like you're saying. When you do it, when you help women, then they go into expansion, and men as well, when they are connected to the heart, because there's a balance of female and male energy in all of us. They can be that contribution as well. So you may be in the beginning having men funding you more than women, and then women receiving, but then eventually it can create something new, in new realities, right? Based on love.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, remember I kept telling you that the universe said that the people who are going to come to help me are actually men.
Mm-hmm.
And I work really well with men, to be honest with you. I actually prefer to
Yeah,
work with men. And
I work really well with men as well,
me too.
and it's
I had
because I'm.
this vision. I wanted to share a quick little like personal thing that I had a vision for you. But
Mhm.
I all of a sudden, because sometimes things will just, I don't know, just downloads, right? Um, all of a sudden I just saw the future of me and you working together. And you're obviously we're going to be working with very powerful men. But all of a sudden it had this vision that I don't know why I had this vision. I didn't put anything like this out there. But all of a sudden I saw that you found somebody for yourself through my network.
Oh, for like a couple.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh, all
Yeah,
right, it's
I
meant to
know
be
that
then.
sounds silly, but I don't know why I had that. All of a sudden, it's going to happen like so naturally, and I smiled at that vision for you.
Thank
I know
you
I
for
don't know
bringing
why
that
I had that. It
possibility.
just happened.
Oh, thank you for bringing that possibility. You're so sweet. You're so sweet, hon. Well, let me just explain you a little more here. So the Inca Way does consultation, workshops, one-to-one coaching, and events to support the expansion. This symbol of here means expansion movement. Okay, and let me just tell you the story of this. In long, long time ago, the female power was wanted to be. It's kind of like this symbol, this frequency was taken out of. How can I share this story coming from my heart? This is a symbol that represents the expansion of the female power in a lot of ways, because this comes from what we call the mother creator. While this one over here uh, represents the male, the direction power and the future, this represented the creative female power. So the idea is to start taking the creative part of us, regardless if we're men and women, into the next level, so we can able to create the world that we want to create. Because as it is right now, all these teachings came from a very ancient culture that were the survivors of something that was dying. Like literally, they were the last ones who were keeping the records of that. And there's so much history that is going to be opening up to the world. That there were so many advanced civilizations in the past, and little by little they were declining, because the major problem was that something happened in the environment. And so there was some contamination. I think I don't know what it is. And a lot of cultures decided to, instead of living the exposed environment, they decide to build underground cities. And in fact, they just find out that there is a possibility of a city under the Egypt, under the pyramids of Egypt. And so that proves too. But in Peru, you see most of their sites, there's underground tunnels. And so so it was a very advanced civilization, had a lot of technology, and that is what I want to bring in the world, to honor them, to honor our behaviors as humans, to be able to co-create together in a way that we can bring positive things to the world. So that's what I teach, bringing accomplishment in the life of people, you know. Yeah, I hope that helps you to
Yeah.
understand symbols.
No, this gives me a deep understanding of it. Yeah. Um, all of a sudden, who popped into my head was my friend Bruno, who died last year. He was
Oh,
Peruvian. And I just for a moment when you were talking, I just, he was a special character, too bad he got too addicted to drugs and stuff, but he was a special character. And yeah, I kind of like just said to him, just, I'm gonna put a little bit of him into this too.
oh. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love that about you. You're always connecting through your heart with other people. Doesn't matter if they're here or someplace else, because that's the way how we used to do things in the ancient time. And I still do. I connect a lot with energies because energy
Yeah.
doesn't stop existing. It just transforms. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. This is kind of what I would like. And then, doing the Inca cross reading, which is the most important thing, because one thing is to present the theory and something else is go through the process where suddenly people are healing. It's like the body has so many ways of talking to us, and I just want to
Well,
make sure.
I've started to heal.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. I could feel that. I mean, I've definitely made a transformation over this last, obviously a couple of days ago was a little tough, but
Hmm.
I'm hoping to get onto the other side of things. And
Oh, you're doing good. Like you got the vision, you're grounded, you're in the present, you're looking forward into the future or different possibilities. And it is I think to this point life becomes a dream where you feel so much gratitude for the positive things that are happening in your life, and then you
yeah,
just more and more of that. And so it's good. It's a good feeling.
yeah, I feel that. I feel that things are really starting to happen and evolve. And I'm real grateful and honored to work with Jim. He called me before I hopped onto this meeting,
Mhm.
and he gave me some suggestions, and also about, like, my branding, my messaging. And so they're going to get me in touch with somebody who's going to basically be kind of like my podcast type coach, people that are going to really refine my whole image.
Oh, that is so good, hon.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's the male energy that's coming into action, helping you to structure your
Yeah,
dream.
he was so funny. He said to me, he goes to he says to me, I hope I don't offend you, Rose. I said, I don't get offended, Jim, like that. I said, trust me, you'll know when you offend me, but you probably won't. And so he tried to do it like lightly to even talk to me about it. And I said, I appreciate that. I said, it makes complete sense and we should do it. So I said, when things are logical, I'm a very logical person.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't take any of it personal,
Hmm. No,
you
I
know.
get it. I get it. I get it. No, I'm
No, this
just
this is
that.
really good. I mean, everything you're explaining to me starts to give me a deeper understanding of your work.
Mm,
And
mm,
that is helpful to me to think about, like, sometimes I get this feeling, I'll share it with you. Sometimes I get this feeling because I'm like, it's so expansive, and it's so, every time I talk with you when you're explaining things and you're showing me this stuff, I get a different understanding, and it
mm,
evolves that way for me, right? And
mhm.
but I'm wondering, like, how do we present this in this master class in a way where people are like, they get it, but they want to learn more to go to the next level? Because, like you said, not everybody can, like, let's say we start to have these master classes, maybe like 10 people at a time, I think, to start off with. This is what I'm thinking, right? Let's say to start off, we're just doing small groups because we got to really refine what we're doing, right? So I think doing it in small groups, 10, 10, until we build it up. Eventually, maybe we'll have
Right.
thousands, right?
Right. So I think it'll be, I keep hearing you present your dream. You know, it's like when you were with Diane, you present your dream, what you want to do, and the female founder, you know, you have your presentation. It may take you 10 minutes to present what are your plans and how you want to do it. What are you looking for? Who is your ideal client? Why they're your ideal
Oh,
client?
that's going to be important. I think that that's going to be important, but I need help with that because
And
that,
that the branding that Jim is talking about, I can do that for you. They can help you to structure that.
okay. Yeah, because I think that that's going to be helpful to me because you
Mhm.
have to tell me a little bit about like exactly what you're saying because, I think that when I talk, I want to start it off by, having this powerful statement. The powerful statement is that I'm going to say I had a vision of changing the flow of capital to women. And
Yeah.
then I describe what that vision looks like.
That's it. Yes. And these are my idea clients. And because I'm looking at idea clients, it's easy for me to co-create together by clearing blocks and limiting beliefs. And that's why I hire Elena to help me to empower you guys so we can grow faster. I think if people already knows in the sense that your boundaries sounds very, very clear, then they will remove themselves if they don't want to go through a process of empowerment.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. People are just going to, like that lady who removed herself
Yeah,
off of the thing.
because
And
this is
what?
work. This is work. People has to work. Look at how much you have been working energetically the last 2 weeks since we
Oh
started.
my God. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, this you is trigger looking at your possibility, who you can be, and your energy can be, because this is not about the body, it's bigger than that. This is the inner part of you that's going to be alive, even though your body is not anymore here. So who are you going to be in 10 years from now? That's why and 1,000 years from now, that's why I call it the higher self. Who are you going
Yeah.
to be? So let's bring that
Can
energy.
you imagine the
Mhm.
impact of what we're doing?
It's huge.
Wow.
It's huge.
This is huge. I mean, this is bigger than going to space. This is bigger than going to space. Space is just that's nothing.
It's-
When John F. Kennedy said, and he asked his NASA engineer, "What's it going to take for us to go to the moon?" And his NASA engineer responded, "Well, sir, the belief that you can."
Mhm.
And it's the same way that I believe that will happen when we change the flow of capital to women.
Yeah, I think talking about women, and I'm sure there's some men who can relate to that. I think part of my dream in the future is that woman does not have to choose between feeding her children and having money for medication. I think nobody should be ever put in that situation. And if we can help the body go back into balance, where we create a world of exchange to the level that you want to create financially, where we can eventually suppress that and be able to
Yeah,
bring.
because I want to tell you, when we invest into these different companies,
Mhm,
how I'm going to structure it, I'm going to make sure that Jim knows it when we move forward. As we're moving forward, I have to always, because sometimes I get a lot of knowledge, but sometimes I got to make sure that it's, in order, right? Is
mhm,
that, that's why I said when we, let's say, I'm talking about like when we, let's say, invest into a particular company, like whatever, 10
mhm,
million, whatever the case or whatever, that, a percentage goes back into that female founders institute, right? So a woman creates that everlasting flow of just like it going back because it's never been done before in business. This has
that's
never
right.
been done before. And so we're going to create this like tsunami ripple effect of just like, that's why I said when I was in Hawaii, I asked for unimaginable wealth because that's what's going to happen. Unimaginable wealth is this. I see this. It's like a flow, like an infinite loop that I have this vision of just like, okay, we invest into you, this, that, that. It's just going to flow.
Mhm.
Um, and that's
It
how it's
is.
to happen, and it's going to the compounding effect will be so fast, so quick. Remember you talked about compounding effect?
Yeah.
This is
Yes.
going to have a compounding effect. Like people are going to be like, the number one question that most people are going to say, well, I thought of that one, Rose. Yeah, but nobody was Rose Vitale. And how many years it took, because it takes so much work. People are like, like my mom, she used to always say to me, I used to tell her about my projects, and my mom used to always say, well, are you making money at that, Rose? And I used to always say, not yet, mama.
That's so adorable. That's so adorable. I
Yeah.
really think oh my goodness. I think your mom is amazing. So my contribution to your project is to be able to bring the ancient knowledge, to be able to help people to understand the vision, because I get it. You're a feeler, I'm a feeler. Like 4 or 5 years ago, when things will be shown to me through my feelings, they will say, you're not going to be able to express it because you have no experience that yet. But don't give up. There's a way how to create that. It's just because you cannot express it yet, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So and it was quite interesting because when this symbol was presented to me, it was in a dream with the
Oh, wow.
colors. And there was a like if water fountain. I mean, it was like a river, and the water was a waterfall. But then in front of it, there was a city, and it was literally wiped out. There was no people. Everything was dry. There was no water. And then, but then it was behind this building, and right about the water, it was the Inca Cross, and it was like it was like a time machine. And I jumped into it, and then I went inside of it, and I can just see all these different colors vibrating everywhere. I didn't have the language by then, what this meant. It was years of training after that I was able to understand, oh my gosh, this brings life. This is a
Mhm.
source of life for people to be able to bring a movement that is taking people back into their heart and
Yeah.
creating reality from that. So,
That's exactly what happened to me too. That's why it took like years and years and years and years and years. And I'm I'm really so honored that the universe did choose me, because this is hard. It's
mm,
really it's really tough. And I think of myself, like I do really think of myself right now as a warrior. I know it sounds funny, but I think of myself as a warrior. But this warrior is going to become king, and I'm thinking about all of that. I know sometimes it's silly the way I talk about it, but that's what I see, because this is really hard.
mm,
That's why I'm able, when I listen to women, and I hear all these women who say they want to support women and this and that and that and this, and I can tell, I can for the most part tell who's genuine and who's not. And I
mhm,
I want to say the saddest part about my journey, the saddest part about my journey is that when I said, remember I told you there's only 3 clicks to change the flow of capital to women, only 3. And the second one is that women have to learn how to stick together, because without that, this will never happen. And
mm.
I am determined my lifetime to make it happen. So
Has been,
that's what we have to also teach women. How do we stick together? How do we stick together? That's the thing we got to we have. I don't know how to get that done.
I think I think the way I have done it is you teach women to honor and value their female and male power. And by learning how to honor that, they will learn to honor the female and male power of other women. That's how you create a team.
Yeah, because there's so many women who get so intimidated by me.
Really? Yeah,
Oh my God.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I had women cease and assist me, tried suing me because they thought I stole their idea. I'm like, you tried to change the flow of capital to women, and if you got if you have that, well, then you have it. But anyways, all kinds of stuff that happened to me through this process, Elena, people ceased in assisting me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ugly. And I said, wow, when a powerful woman comes in, women who are not within their power, and these are the women who say that they support these women organizations. They have different investment companies. I had one woman who ran $100 million fund in San Diego. Yeah, I mean, it's just ugly,
Mhm.
ugly. I'll never forget these women because I'm going to thank them one day when I'm in front of the crowd. I don't even remember some of their names. I don't even remember some of their names, but they never forget mine.
Mhm.
But that's the sad part. That's the sad part. When I saw that, I had to endure that. I mean, everything, this whole 5 years, man, most people would have given up.
Mhm.
Most
Yeah,
people would have given up and losing 15, $16 million. I'm telling you, everyone would have given up.
yeah, yeah. Well, you're in a good place, Rose. Things are happening. Like I
Yeah,
say, when I
excited. I'm
do this,
excited that you're a part of this.
oh, thank you, thank you. It is
But yeah, I think I'm going to need help
better.
a little bit. I'm going to need a little bit of help with the guidance on because sometimes I'm still unclear. Like obviously I want these master classes to go well, and I know it will, but sometimes I get stuck in my head.
Okay. So let's do a little work. I want you to feel your heart.
Yeah, hang on one moment. One. Okay.
Envision, envision that you are in Italy and you are a chef. And as a chef, obviously you're a really good chef. So as a chef, you have to pick up the ingredients. You're going to teach a class. You're going to teach them all the different ingredients to make the soup that you're going to make. So when you come to a presentation, you just talk about the ingredients, and then you teach them to create the soup. Just like that.
Okay.
So you start in the program, and you can say, hi, I'm Rose, and I'm so excited all of you guys are here. Today we're going to learn to cook a tomato soup. And for the tomato soup, we have 5 important ingredients. And ingredient number 1 is that you guys, as a woman, need to learn to respect each other. Because if the flow of money is not going to be able to come unless we learn to respect each other. And then you place your 5 ingredients and you say, and by the way, one of my assistants is Elena with the Inca Way that is going to help me to get a better quality of ingredient. And that's why we're joining forces to be able to support you guys to create the soup that you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
There's your cell. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And plus, I do love to cook, but that's
Mm-hmm.
just my creative side. But
And you
yeah,
just present it there. You just present your creative side there. That's what it is. You're going to be presenting your creative side, what you're going to be cooking.
yeah, it's interesting you used cooking because I do really love to cook.
Yeah,
So,
that's
okay, well, this is great. I'm gonna review this recording. I'll share it with you, and then
okay.
I'm gonna review it, and then I'm gonna spend this weekend. I'm gonna spend this weekend. I'm gonna be in San Francisco this weekend,
Okay.
uh, and so I'm gonna spend this weekend, and I'm just gonna absorb just this, and then share with you things.
Yeah, you're going to be just fine, love. Mm-hmm. Nice talking to you.
All right, take care. I'll be posting this up in the next few minutes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.